Welcome back, Libro Maniacs. So today we're going to be talking more cryptozoology. In the field of cryptozoology, they frequently reference the coelacanth fish, the lobe-finned fish that was believed to go extinct 68 to 66 million years ago, and lo and behold, it's swimming around. I think they found one off the coast of India, and maybe that's where they were both found. Anyways, that's a big jump. That's a big leap. 66 million years, 68. What's going on here? Did a pocket of these survive that long? Well, that's what everyone assumes, right? That a pocket of these creatures, these fish, these lobe-finned fish. Now, these lobe-finned fish. That's like you can kind of see this evolutionary transition from feet to fins, or that's the other way around, fins to feet, and depends what species. Dolphin would be the other way, but So you see these transitional, like they're a little bit of both. They're a little bit of feet, they're a little bit of fins. And you can look this up online and find out that the coelacanth is a lungfish, a type of lungfish. So now there's weird fish right now that actually crawl. Like if a lake is going dry, they can crawl from one lake to another. They can crawl over land, and in some cases these fish have lungs, or they have primitive gills that can absorb oxygen, or whatever. So well, the coelacanth was one of these types of fish. So its lobed fins allowed it to walk through, walk up a muddy bank, drag itself wherever, hope for the best, hope you find, because like things dry up, climates change, like throughout history, deserts have become forests, forests have become swamps, swamps have become whatever. So environments change all the time. So this was an excellent evolutionary adaptation to be able to, hey, if this dries up, we can go somewhere else. So that, if a river dries up, it drag itself to another river. A lake dries up, dry itself to another lake. Well, lungfish are known to do something else as well. If they can't find another suitable habitat, if everything's drying up, everything within the range of being able to drag yourself, they will burrow into the mud, and they will go into as I believe it might be called estivation. You can look this up, but hibernation is things like bears hibernate every year, everyone knows that, and their bodies, they eat a bunch of food, and their bodies they shift gears, they shift metabolic gears, and they allow themselves to just basically sleep 3 months and emerge at the end of it. Well, there's another state that's more like I actually read about this doing research on cryostasis. They were talking about so here's the fascinating story. There was this situation where there was a car accident, I believe, and somebody went over a bridge in wintertime, and their car plunged into the ice. And how accurate that is, that's how I remember it. I haven't Googled this memory to confirm the details, but the salient point, even if it might have happened differently if there wasn't a car crash involved, perhaps. I don't know exactly how it happened, but somebody got trapped beneath ice, and it was like between 45 minutes or over an hour, something like that. And well, too bad. Like there ain't anything they're gonna do for somebody who drown. Like if somebody's in the water for a minute, drowning, yeah, pull them ashore. Give them, give them CPR. Clear the water out of their lungs. You got a chance. But 45 minutes under freezing water, no, you're done for. Except in this one case. So cellular damage comes about by like if you freeze cells, the ice crystals, the water inside your cells bursts the cell and it wrecks it. So you can't. That's why we can't just freeze our cells for the future. And that's actually kind of how they get around this. I think some places that allow you to like freeze your body or freeze your head, they replace the water with something that isn't going to do that. Then there's like this, for whatever reason, cells have this tiny little window, and it's like a fraction of a degree of temperature. But in that fraction of a degree, things just go into cryostasis. And that's what the water was in this particular case. There was somebody who had drowned in under ice, and the ice was exactly the right temperature to just put the body into cryostasis. And it's like hibernation. Well, how long can that happen? So there have been people that say, about a year, we've done some experiments, it seems about a year. One person did an experiment where they entombed frogs, because this is a common thing. Finding, like in quarries and rock quarries, they frequently break open rocks and there's a living frog inside. The frog like jumps out and hops away, and it's like, and in some cases they look like extinct frogs or toads. Actually, I think it's just frogs. And so somebody did that. Somebody entombed some frogs in cement, and one was a limestone mixture. Well, the limestone is a porous rock, and it allows enough air and enough water through that it's what you would need if you were in that perfect state of hibernation. So it could be indefinite. Like if there's an air exchange and a water exchange, however long you keep that exchange going, that thing's just going to be in cryostasis. So is that what the coelacanth did? Did we not see an actual did a pocket of this survive for 66 million years? Did a pocket of them survive that long? Or were there some that burrowed into some mud, that climate changed, it went through some drought, and then millions of years later it changes back into it gets like this rock would get worn away and washed away in a wet environment, and there it is, like it cracks forth. That's my own theory. I haven't read that anywhere. I was doing research on the coelacanth, read that it was a lungfish, knew that lungfish did that, and thought, there's all these accounts of entombed animals, usually there actually aren't a lot of different types of animals. It's almost invariably I want to say frogs. So yeah, it is definitely frogs, because they're the water one, and that's why they're entombing themselves. Toads wouldn't do that. So maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe it did go extinct back then, but there were some that entombed themselves, and then like it seems like some of these frogs are lasting that long. So maybe the lungfish lasted that long and crawled its way into water. So that's a whole other way of looking at that. That's cheating extinction, right? Like that species might have cheated extinction by this weird couple of flukes that it had this evolutionary habit of burrowing into mud till the climate got better, and then being in the perfect conditions for the perfect preservation, like indefinite preservation, where everything's like your cells are in this immortal cryostasis state of hibernation. And as long as that rock is breathing, as long as this limestone is getting some water through, some moisture through there, and some oxygen through there, millions of years pass. And here's another while we're thinking about crazy ideas, like how conscious is that? How conscious is that thing? Is it dreaming? Is it dreaming for millions of years? It wouldn't know what being awake was. It would just think it was another dream. Did it evolve? Did it is it doing, mathematical calculations? I don't know if you've seen The Demolition Man with Wesley Snipes and Sylvester Stallone, but they put criminals in cryostasis so they can actually serve out their sentences when they give like a mass murderer 20 life sentences. It's like, we'll put you in cryostasis so you do serve that out. And in their brains they have them doing these programs like knitting. Well, for some reason, this cop who was kind of like a good cop, bad cop that, did things the hard way against bad guys and got in trouble for it, kind of thing. And so he's dreaming for, decades about knitting. Like they twist the programming, like they gave the cop the knitting programming, and then they gave the bad guy it's a great movie. It's hilarious. They gave the bad guy like martial arts training, so he's like in the Matrix for decades learning martial arts. Anyways, what is that? What is that lungfish? What are these frogs thinking all this time? Are they dreaming all that time? Is there brain activity? I guess that would take electricity. And you wouldn't think in cryostasis there would be dreaming, but I would guess not. I would guess that. I would guess one of two things. I would either guess that when a bear is hibernating, there's no dreaming going on. And hibernating, maybe they do hibernate and dream, but this perfect slice of cryostasis might actually be a different form of hibernation that doesn't allow dreaming. But I could see a scenario where it would just go through REM cycles like it normally does. Like you go through REM cycles because if you break those REM cycles, you go crazy. So if somebody is deprived of sleep for a certain amount of time, they actually die. They go mad. So maybe in cryostasis you have to have the same REM cycle going on and on and on and on, which means it would always have dreaming experiences for millions of years, and then it would finally wake up. Would it know it's awake? It would just think it's another dream, wouldn't it? But everything would be so different. It would be like, I don't know why I'm thinking about a frog waking up after millions of years. But my theory for this video, I think, is sound. The lungfish buried itself. We know entombed animals seem to be happening. And there's evidence that if it's the right rock and there's moisture and oxygen present and the hibernation state is this perfect state of preservation, then it's all good in the hood. You're just going to wake up whenever you dry out, I guess, or whenever you break out. So, thanks for tuning in. That's all we're going to talk about today. I'm not actually going out of my way to debunk the coelacanth example. That's not the only living fossil out there. There's other living fossils. In fact, creatures alive during the time of the dinosaurs, turtles, crocodiles, Komodo dragons, they have all survived up until now. So there's plenty of things that were around during dinosaur time that could be around now. So whether or not the coelacanth cheated or not is a moot point. Cryptozoology is still on solid foundations. Anyways, That's all I am talking about and rambling about and hypothesizing about for today. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.